welcome to the 4th Annual New Human Living Humanitarian Award. And our winner this year is RJ Spina. RJ Spina stands as an exemplary leader and metaphysical teacher, emerging at a time when the world yearns for transformative guidance. His remarkable journey includes a documented personal triumph over permanent chest-down paralysis, severe chronic illness, and life-threatening conditions. An authentic statement to his transcendence, RJ's teachings, imbued with profound wisdom, serve as a beacon of hope and have revolutionized the lives of individuals globally through his groundbreaking self-healing and self-realization techniques. Dedicated to the liberation and healing of humanity on every conceivable level, RJ resides in Ward, Arkansas, along with his partner, Amara. As the founder and president of the nonprofit organization Human Advancement Through Higher Consciousness, he has become a driving force behind positive change. RJ's best-selling books, Supercharged Self-Healing, now in its 8th printing, and Change Your Mind, underscore his commitment to sharing transformative insights. From leading revolutionary self-healing and realization courses to providing energy healings and counseling individuals worldwide, RJ Spina's impact resonates far beyond geographical boundaries. His life's dedication is an inspiring force, fostering healing and empowering for those ready to embark on their own transformative journeys. So, RJ, let me be the first one to congratulate you on winning the 4th Annual New Human Living Humanitarian Award. Congratulations.
Les, thank you very much. It's an honor. It's exciting, and it's actually quite humbling. I sincerely appreciate it. Thank you very much.
We like to give this award to people who are pushing the boundaries, who's breaking the mold, the momentum, if you will, of the collective consciousness has been pretty much on railroad tracks for eons of time, and now humanity's going through this awakening process. It's people like you who have completely shattered long-standing ideas that had no merit in the truth, and you've personified this in your own personal journey. Can you share with the audience? Can you share your journey with us?
Sure. And thank you for the kind words. I sincerely appreciate that. We could start from the very beginning and say that I came into this incarnation quite detached from the human condition. Literally my earliest memories as a child are of leaving my body, being on the ceiling of my bedroom, looking down at my body, being able to travel our house. And then I realized that I literally could go anywhere with my intention, with my consciousness. So I started out that way. For the most part, Les, I led a normal life. I had normal jobs. I certainly never felt normal at all. I was given past life readings in my 20s, which was almost like the first maybe official foray into the metaphysical world.
Dipping your toe, so to speak, right?
Yeah, that was kind of the beginning of it. And the interesting thing about that, Les, is that after only a couple of years of doing it, I stopped doing it because I realized when I would talk about someone's other incarnations, they were forming attachments and identifications to those incarnations. And the purpose for me, what's in my heart, is the freeing of humanity on all levels. And when I realized what I was doing, I was creating more identifications and attachments for people, even though I was tapping into the the realm of wisdom, so to speak, it wasn't really liberating anyone. So I stopped, and I didn't really go back into it for quite a while. I would say probably around 2010, and I reincarnated in 1971. So it wasn't until 2010 where I started officially once again teaching meditation, teaching my understandings of self-realization, of healing, how these things really work. And then we could fast forward to 2016, April 23rd, 2016. I was very, very ill. I was told I had 48 hours to live. I had severe sepsis. I was diagnosed with multiple diseases and life-threatening conditions, and I had become permanently, air quotes, permanently paralyzed from the chest down. I was told there was no way I could ever walk again. The damage to my spine was too severe. I had emergency life-saving surgery that night. It's something called a laminectomy, where they scrape, sounds awful. It is, it was, where they scrape the infection off of your spine. And I woke up that next morning. I woke up exactly 3 a.m., by the way. And I woke up in to what I now understand as authentic cosmic consciousness. We can use the word enlightenment, but it's now my understanding it's actually what is beyond self-realization or enlightenment. And I started explaining in the ICU how self-healing and self-realization works, how it's a metaphysical process that anyone can do it. And I started giving specific instructions about how I would unparalyze myself and heal myself. And in exactly 100 days, I would show no indications of any of the diseases, any of the life-threatening conditions, and I would no longer be paralyzed. And of course, she looked at me like, not that I had 3 heads, like I had 12 heads, but she also looked at me like how it was so specific what I was talking about. She literally she said, "How do you know this?" Because it wasn't just the ramblings of something. It was so highly specific. And she said,
Right.
how do you know this?" And the only thing I said was, "I remember. I remember." And those understandings, those teachings became the foundation of the Ascend Frequencies healing technique, which makes up the spine of my first book, Supercharged Self Healing. And before I was fully unparalyzed, and it was exactly on the 100th day I walked, and there's a video of that, as you know. I was already teaching people while I was still in a wheelchair. I was teaching people the things that I had remembered through that awakening, and it's been nonstop ever since.
Well, now, when you generated the sentence for the first time in 100 days, was that when you were talking to the nurse or had that sentence come into your mind before that moment?
No, it was
Kind of
the
like on the fly. I mean, it's just coming out of you, and then maybe you're surprised yourself.
there was the moment that I woke up from surgery. I mean, we like to joke that it became RJ 2.0. So
Right.
it's like the receptivity and the bandwidth of my consciousness had increased by an order of magnitude. And I knew in that moment what I was going to do, how I was going to do it. And I knew exactly that it would take me exactly 100 days of continuous, nonstop, one beyond 100% effort, but continuous, nonstop. And then exactly in 100 days, I would walk. And I knew it instantly. Uh, the funny thing about it is that all this remembrance, Les, was instantaneous. So it was like a second.
Right.
Now, for me to relay everything that came back to me in a second, I'm now releasing my third book, and I still haven't captured everything that I remembered in this one second. So I'm still trying to play catch up to the whole thing.
Well, when that like burst in bandwidth, that expansion of consciousness within your persona, did you feel like you needed a lot of kind of like recalibration of yourself, or was it so much in harmony with yourself you popped into it and it felt more natural than perhaps the moment before?
Yeah, the latter, the latter. Yeah, it was the complete and utter destruction of my physical body. My physical body had been completely destroyed, and I had been truly, authentically liberated. So I felt literally, it's the only time up until that moment, it's the only time actually felt 100% like myself, literally myself with the capital S
Right.
self. Yeah. So it was instantaneous. It was, that transition was effortless. I had to go through agony in terms of what led up to the surgery, obviously, and then the agony that was about to happen over the next 100 days. But no, it was a seamless transition into who and what I really am. And there was this moment, because I've been asked, what is that like? Cosmic conscious, what is that like? And I can tell you exactly what it was for me. So I was sitting, it was day 2, I think, or day 3. I hadn't even been transferred to the rehab. I was still in ICU. And I was in the hospital for 7 to 10 days, and then they transferred me to the rehab for about 8 to 10 weeks, 8 weeks. But it was very early on. I was sitting in the hospital bed. They had raised me up, and again, paralyzed from the chest down, incredibly weak and sick from the sepsis, just incredibly weak and sick. But I remember just sitting there, Liz, and there was this moment where all so-called knowledge and ignorance were seen as the exact same thing, and they both just fell away. And what remained was me, the self with the capital S. And that was the moment of true cosmic consciousness.
Nice. I like that. It reminds me of a quote from Rumi. There's a field beyond right and wrong. I'll meet you there.
Beautiful. Yeah, absolutely. Rumi knew exactly what he was talking about for sure.
Well, now, RJ, you've really transmuted by example the the soul's relationship with the human body, the human persona. And for me, it seems like there's a divine idea of all of us within us, a divine idea of what our body is, or I should say, could be, and that's unerasable. And so you so exemplify um, looking, I mean, recognizing a human condition. You're in a wheelchair, and Western medicine's going, tough luck, sucker, and and yet, like I say, you have transformed the idea of what is possible through your actions, and you're a living embodiment of that now. So th that kind of demonstration is very powerful as others awaken to their higher consciousness, their big ass self, so to speak, not big ass.
Could
Right.
be. Could
It
be.
could be, yeah. I mean, everything's divided, right?
Yeah.
So how have you created a platform out of this? Now tell us about your books and your classes and kind of the intent and the momentum you've created with this.
Yeah, so the first thing I want to say is that none of it was consciously planned by me. And I don't think a lot of people know this. So, but I want to share it. So
Yes.
when I was in the hospital rehab, the only guest that I had was a Chinese, and he wrote the foreword for the first book. The first book is called Supercharged Self-Healing, which is about to go into its 9th printing, by the way. Is
Nice.
that incredible, right? So he was the only guest I had, Les. And so he was coming twice a week, sometimes 3 times a week. So, and he wound up writing the foreword for the book because he wanted to capture what he would have said is impossible. This kind of healing is impossible. So when we were working together and he was realizing and participating in this healing that was so profound, and the things that I was talking about and revealing about enlightened metaphysics, about self-healing, self-realization, he said, is there any way that he has a huge, very successful clinic in San Diego. His name is Adrian. And he said, is there any way that you would come to my clinic and teach meditation? I said, yeah, sure. I'd love to do it. And he said, no, please, you have to help them. And I still haven't forgotten that, the energy that he transmitted to me when he said it that way. I was like, okay, I absolutely will. And so the moment that I got discharged that weekend, that it was like 3 or 4 days later, still in a wheelchair, I guess he had been telling his patients, his clients, about me and about what was going on, and how remarkable and things like that. And so I showed up that weekend, and there was like 30, 40 people in this big waiting room. And I started teaching meditation, started revealing some of the things that I understand, from a higher state of consciousness. And shortly thereafter, Les, after doing these, we called it introduction to meditation. It wasn't really introduction to meditation, but that's what we called it. And people would come up to me after the class, and they would just say, "Is there any way that I could work with you one on one?" They had all these different health issues and so on and so forth. And I just said, "Yeah, sure, yeah, I'd love to help you, and I can absolutely help you." And before I knew it, literally before I knew it, I was seeing people, 4 or 5 people a day, 5, 6 days a week. I had a schedule that was booked out ahead 3 months in advance. So I was not planned in any way, shape, or form. And as I was doing this, I realized that really the best thing for me to do is to write a book as well, to capture what it is that I'm helping people with now, to put it in that process, so everyone can just read the book and then they can do it themselves. So it was literally organic. I had no intention of doing any of this. But before I knew it, I was crazy busy writing books. That developed into an app that I now have. It's developed into a third book that's coming out. We now have this learning management system that is even beyond the app that we have been using. So the whole thing has just exploded without my conscious doing so. It's like the world was dictating what needed to be done, and I just got out of the way and just said, "Okay, I'll do whatever is required."
You, perhaps from my perspective, you came into alignment or harmony with the soul, your soul's intention for your life. And I think that story demonstrates that. I mean, so often we can get kind of frustrated and stressed because we try to run our life from our egos, and our ego was never designed. It's not a multi-dimensional facet of ourselves, and our soul has this multi-dimensional perception of quote reality unquote. And so when we can surrender that, teach the ego that life gets so much cooler if we let go of the steering wheel altogether, right? And it's just from your description, it sounded like because all these things started happening synchronicity, with synchronicity.
Yeah. It's like just like you said, my life plan, my movie script was just unfolding right before my eyes, and all I had to do was not resist.
Right,
That was it. It didn't even require an effort or really a doingness on my part. It was all just unfolding right in front of me, and I just went along with it because it felt right to go along with it. So the ego creates that resistance.
right, yes,
there's no resistance to anything. We create resistance. And
yes.
so in that state, I didn't have any resistance, and therefore everything that I had planned that was just happening in front of me, and I was all for it.
So you've just heard this guy, RJ, describe why you are the winner of the 2023 New Human Living Humanitarian Award. And here we are. I sent you a box. Do you have a box?
I do, Les. I have it right here, and I've been itching to open it, but I have not per your instruction.
Is it hard to not open it for you?
Well, truthfully, no.
Yes.
Truthfully, no. The fact that you sent me something, I don't even have to open it. It warms my heart that you sent me something, and that's more than enough. But if I wasn't a little curious, I'm a little curious because I have been looking at it for a few days. So
Well, why don't you take the time now and go ahead and open up the box?
thank you. Sounds good. All right, and here it is, by the way. Oh my goodness. Well, there's this. Thank you, Les. Oh, this is stunning. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Oh, it was worth the wait, my friend. If anyone can see that. There's a glare. I'm not sure if you can see it, but New Human Living Fourth Annual Humanitarian Award awarded to RJ Spina for making such a deep and profound difference in the lives of so many. 2023.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you. It's rare that I'm speechless. So it's just very humbling. It's very, very humbling. And I'll do my best to not only maintain this in 2023, but until I exit my body.
It's quite evident that your thoughts, decisions, and actions come out of the compassion that your heart has. And when you as a vehicle operate from that compassion, it's uh, once you've tasted the fruit of being the vehicle of the love that your soul has for humanity, once you've tasted that fruit, there's no looking back.
Yeah, well said. And there's no substitute either.
Right. Every
Nothing inauthentic will ever satiate or suffice the truth of our love, our wisdom, and our power. And I can't thank you enough. That's absolutely beautiful. Thank you so much, Les.
Thank you. Thank you. It's our pleasure to recognize you with this award. You embody the divine idea of what a human being can demonstrate and be and manifest. And like I've said several times, you've broken the mold for the collective. And that's a very, very powerful thing to do. So thank you. So do you have any closing thoughts for our audience?
Yeah, yes, I do. So I would just like to point out that me overcoming life-threatening conditions, chronic diseases, severe sepsis, and permanent chest down paralysis is your permission slip to do the impossible for yourself. Because that self that's inside me with the capital S is the same self that's inside you. And please use my books, my courses, my teachings to liberate yourself. Use my incarnation to free yourself once and for all from bondage. It's up to you. The teachings are here now.
Beautifully said. Well, I want to thank you again, and it's been a real pleasure giving you this award.
Thank you. And it's a pleasure to speak with you, Les. Every time we speak, we were joking earlier that it's a voice in the ether. This is the first time that I get to see you. And so it's been a pleasure. And I certainly hope it's not the last time I see you.
Amen.